Hi, everybody. I'm back. It's Siri Lamb, the tech-minded teacher, and I'm here for part two of the overview on using Google Forms and the Autocrat add-on to grade digitally. In the last video, in part one, we looked at how to create the form to do this, how to create the Google form, how to fill the Google form, how to figure out the Google form. Today, we're going to talk about the second and third part, I hope, because they kind of work together. So I have the form open here, but we actually kind of need to take a step back and go into Google Docs, even though now you can also do Google Slides, which is so cool. That's a brand new feature. So if you really like to design your own fancy rubrics, then now you can. But either way, I'm just going to go based on the based on the information from our sample thing from last time. So here's what I do. I open up a new Google Doc and I'm going to create my rubric, right? And this, you can use pre-existing rubrics. You might just have to modify them a bit. And that's what's so great about this. But because you thought about everything that's on your rubric, you created those fields in the form, and now you're going to just have them here on the paper. So is there a reason that this is not? There we go. Okay, so I'm going to put in a table. Is my internet super slow? I think it is. Okay, I'm going to put in a table at some point eventually. I put 3 columns. I'm really, in this case, I only actually have 1 row, so I'm just going to put my 1 row. This is the sample assignment rubric. I'll be honest with you, I'm not going to spend the time in this tutorial to make this look pretty. So I'm going to put here category, expectation. Oh, sorry, I need 1 more column. Comment. English teacher, who can't spell? There we go. Comments. And this is so slow, but okay. We're going to insert a column to the right where it says score, right? So the category that we did in that form, in that just random sample, was mechanics. The expectation, I'm sorry, that wasn't mechanics, it was meaning. It was meaning, and the expectation is, I don't know, essay in asserts a strong argument using a thesis that addresses all aspects of the prompt. Okay, so now, right, this is my rubric, right? Imagine that this is a fuller rubric, but this is my rubric. If I'm doing a scoring sheet, whatever it is, this is the information. And here's where it gets really cool, because what we're going to do in the next step with Autocrat is we're going to pull information from the spreadsheet and we're going to insert it into this. And so what we need to do now is we need to tell Autocrat where we want to put that information that it pulls. And we do that through HTML tags. So watch what we do. We create the brackets, the greater than, less than signs. There's for sure a real name for that. If you know the name for this symbol, please put it in the comments. You'd be doing me a huge favor. Anyway, remember the details that we had over there. We put the student's first name here. Now, please keep in mind that this is case sensitive. I do the first name. I do the last name, right? Because I want my student's name on top. Now, let's say one of the entries was class. I could put class here, whatever it is. Now, remember, my comments about meaning were just called meaning. So I put meaning here, so it'll populate this field with the comments. And my score, which was out of 6. So this one I think was called meaning score, or was it just score? I don't know, I'm checking. Yeah, meaning score, because it should be the same, or else it's not the end of the world if it's not, because you can just manually fix it after. I'll show you, but it's better if it is. And this is out of 6 points. I'd like them to know what it is. We had created a field for the total grade, and now we want to put space for the comments. Now, I always like to address my students when I write comments. I think it's so much more personal and friendly. So I put the first name here with a comma so that they, it's as if it's written to them exactly. I'm putting feedback over here because that's the name of that field over there. And now look what this is. So now we just need to go on to the last step, and that is to pull everything together and get the information from this spreadsheet, which came from this form, into this document. Okay, and we do that through the Autocrat. Oh, I'm sorry, one more tiny step, and then we're going to do that through the Autocrat add-on. Autocrat is going to ask you where you want to send those documents to that you're going to create, these rubrics. So you really are best off in advance, just because it'll take faster, creating the folder where you want to store this, right? So I'm going to create a new folder. At some point in my life. There we go. I'm going to create a new folder. I'm going to call this new folder sample assignment. I'm going to create it. I'm going to just go out of here. I don't need this anymore. But this way it's done. And now I go into here. Okay. And here's where the fun starts, the magic, the not as complicated part. The complicated part is really over. I go into add-ons. I go to get add-ons. I deleted mine so I can be able to show you really step-by-step how to do this. I search for Autocrat. Okay. I get it's free. I get it here. I install it. I tell Google and Autocrat that they're welcome to manipulate my whole life and steal all my data. Just joking. I never know whatever. Anyway, okay. So now it tells me over here that it's here. I'm not going to learn more, even though it does have a really handy guide. And now I go to add-ons and I open up Autocrat. It's so exciting. Okay. It's loading. Now I create a new job. You can do multiple jobs from the same sheet, but the jobs are sheet specific. So for each form, you're going to need to create a new job. Now, my job name in this case is sample assignment because I always name it the same name as everything so that I know what I'm doing. Okay, now I press next. You see, and this is where it is. Well, this, by the way, is a brand new feature, literally, I think like last week, that you can now choose Google Slides as a job template from Drive. They didn't used to be able to do that. I love that because I love using Google Slides to create pretty resources. So now I can do that and I don't have to use Google Docs, which is, I find, slightly clunkier for this kind of thing. But anyway, look, I'm going to get it from my Drive, right? Because I already created that rubric over here. It pulls it up. I'm pressing select. And by the way, if you go check out my blog post on my blog, I have some sample rubrics that I've used for real assignments. And I'd be happy to share other ones if you like them. Then I press next. And see here, this is really cool. What it does is it maps the columns one-to-one. Now, in case you didn't write it exactly the same way, see, this is what it says in the form, right? Form responses, and this is what it says in your column. So if you made a mistake and you mistyped something or, you didn't do it exactly right, so it's fine because then you just go through here, you create, you map it to the column that you want it to map to, and then you're okay. It happens to be over here. You can choose standard, like regular text, hyperlink, or image. Then you press next. You tell Autocrat how it's going to name each file. So my way that I like to do it, but obviously you need to figure out your own naming protocol. I always do last name and then the name of the assignment. That's how I can then recognize everything. Now, you can export this rubric that you're going to send to your students either as a Google Doc or as a PDF. If you're always everything googly, then I like a Google Doc because if you made a mistake or if a student revises, forget even mistake, revision, so important. If a student revises and you want to change their grade and you don't want to go through the whole entire thing again, if it's a Google Doc, you can go into the folder and edit it and it just updates their grade. But PDFs, sometimes if you are not very googly, students find a hard time opening up the Google Doc, so then you can share it as a PDF. You can either output it as multiple documents, which is what I always do, or if you wanted to have all the rubrics in one place, in one document, so you can, for whatever reason, you can do it as a single document. Then you press next, you choose your destination folder, right, that we just created a minute ago. Sample assignment. I'm selecting this. I'm pressing next. You could include dynamic folder references and merge conditions and all that kind of stuff, but that's even more complicated. So not for today. And this is where it's really cool because you can email it. You want to share it. I never share it as editable because I don't need my students editing their own documents. But let's say you were doing peer review or peer revisions, some kind of stuff like that, and you wanted students to be able to revise their rubrics, to be able to add information. Maybe you wanted feedback on the feedback and you wanted it more conversational, then maybe you would want to do it editable. And here you get to be able to send them their email. Remember, we collected their email addresses. By the way, this is the draw. It has all of the tags that you created, so you don't have to like retype them. So I put in their email here. Whoops, that didn't copy. Email. I put in their email here. There we go. I put in a subject here, right? So I usually tell them assignment score, right? Or sample assignment score, name a thing. And here I can type a message. So it's like I can be so nice and friendly. And I can write, instead of just like, here's your rubric, leave me alone. I can write, dear first name. And then you write your message. Here are your scores. I usually try to write something slightly more friendly than that. And then I put my name and then I press next. You could run it that every time a form comes in, it sends out a new document automatically. That's really, that's good in certain cases. When I'm grading papers, I never do that. I want to release all my grades at the same time, or you can do it every certain amount of time. It can trigger it to send it, but I usually leave it that it's manual. Whoops, next. And then I press save. And now it's saving my job. And this is where it gets, and this is what's so cool. I did this part, and now all I have to do is hit play. Well, run, whatever. Okay, you can hit run, and I'm going to show you back a second in case you weren't sure how it's going to look. You can actually generate a sample one. So obviously this is not going to do everything that it needs to because I put in dummy email addresses, but I want to show you on the sheet what it does. Hold on, you see it's merging your documents. Now, if you're like returning 50 papers or whatever, find something to do while it merges because it'll take a while. Let me just show you for a second in case you wanted to preview what it's going to look like before you do it, because you're like, and I actually really recommend previewing because I can't tell you how many times I made a little tiny mistake or I made some kind of, little, this already, okay, I'm sorry, you had to do it before. But really what happens over here is this fills in all the information and you can preview the first row and it'll send you a preview. And it's such a time saver to take the 2 seconds to do that because oh my goodness, I've made mistakes and I felt so stupid. And then I needed to tell students to ignore the first rubric and then do the second one. And then don't even ask about the time that I sent out 2 that were wrong. And so preview. If you remember one thing from this video, preview that thing before you send. But look what it did. See, it added these columns right here. And so now I have actually a link, but it's also, I'm going to show it, it's in my Google Drive. Obviously, okay, it says document successfully merged, but failed to add as viewable because obviously these are not real emails, but it would otherwise have successfully added. But let's look. Now look at how amazing this is. See, it has now this document is titled. Remember, I told it to do a last name and sample assignment, and look at that. Jill Smith, and here's her comments. Remember, all these were check boxes. That's all we did. Here's her comments. Here's her scores. And Jill, I'm so happy to see. And there's the comment, and the student has it. And you have access to it. So there's no way that you lost it because it's in that folder that you created. So if you went back into your Google Drive, then you would be able to find it and pull it up in there. It's all in this. It's not showing my recent folders. Okay, whatever. It's all there waiting for you. It's so pretty. You don't have to do anything. The students also have it. Everybody has it. And it's so amazing. And obviously the one that I created here is kind of ugly because I didn't work on any formatting just now in this tutorial, but the ones that are linked on my blog are some examples of some of the pretty ones that I did. And I'm super excited to try out making even nicer ones now that I can do it with Google Slides, and I can really jazz up my rubrics and send my students rubrics that are so clear. What I'll usually do is I'll differentiate the fonts between the comments and like the expectations so they see which part is my addition, or I'll differentiate the color and I'll make it in a way that the rubric is so clear and provides personalized and definitive feedback on their writing. I hope that this tutorial was helpful. Please let me know in the comments. And I hope that you will subscribe to my channel, follow me on my blog, look me up on social media. I can't wait to hear your reactions and to hopefully interact with you and get to know you.